finding inspiration for science fiction, I think, is really a function of curiosity of one's mind, and keeping your mind alert and active. Like I mentioned that when about Dolly the sheep, the cloning news started coming out. That's when the germ of idea of my story in Ascendance kind of started brewing inside me. Similarly, I watch a lot, most of the serials and movies that come with the tag science fiction. I enjoy them, and they also set my mind thinking. So some time ago, a fascinating movie called Interstellar had come out. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. And it dealt with the concept of a wormhole to cover large distances in space. It also talked about how inside a black hole, time becomes just a dimension, physical dimension, like space and etc. So I actually, somehow that idea, after watching that movie, the concept of time travel, which is very common idea in science fiction, started brewing inside me. Then I also read actually Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time, and I must admit that I found it pretty hard because although it's written very simply, it is meant for people who have some basic idea about science. So, however, that whole idea and time travel, covering large distances in the space, etc. I built it up into my story that I have written now, completed, which is called Continuum, which although is based in contemporary times, it has two time travelers. One comes from the future and one from the past. So inspiration and ideas for writing science fiction really come from the things around me, for me as a writer, and then something just kind of clicks in my brain. The idea of writing science fiction, I think, presents both a difficulty and an opportunity. The fact that you're creating something absolutely new, it can be a different world, a different planet, different people, anything. You have to actually think through all the details. You have to create that world in your writing. Your writing has to, when a reader reads it, it should reflect that world, and it should be kind of visually in front of the reader. So that is a challenge because it's really stemming from pure imagination. But it's also an opportunity because it gives you you're not bound by the realities as we know them, and you can think of different realities and write. The only constraint being that for science fiction, all that you imagine, all the new realities that you imagine have to be within the framework of science. They have to be believable, because otherwise, if you start writing about magic and people flying with no scientific basis, it really becomes fantasy. So the idea, I think, in writing science fiction is this, keeping this balance, that you imagine what you want to write about, the world, the people, the species, whatever, but you have to keep them within the matrix of believability. There has to be some science, backing that idea. And for me, science fiction gives a kind of arena as an author where I can play with characters, I can play with the things that are happening, things that they deal with, issues that they deal with, entirely as per, without any constraints of current realities. So I think for me, it's a really, really fascinating and very, very enriching genre to write in, and I really enjoy it.